Okay, let's unpack this. We've all navigated the sometimes baffling world of dating and relationships, haven't we? Regardless of who we are, where we come from.
Definitely. It can be a real roller coaster.
But imagine spending 6 years in a particular dating scene only to reach a point where you feel compelled to publicly declare, I'm out.
Right. What's particularly revealing is when someone's personal journey within a specific community leads to such profound dissatisfaction that it triggers a complete rethinking of their path. It's a big step.
Exactly. So this deep dive takes us into the experience of a 24-year-old who, after 6 years identifying as a lesbian, shared her story. It's from a YouTube video titled, I've been a lesbian for 6 years and I'm resigning.
Wow. Okay. That title's quite a statement.
It really is. It's on the channel Dating Right.
Yeah.
And our goal here isn't just to recount her experiences, but to really try and understand the core reasons behind her decision,
Yeah. What actually happened?
To explore the specific events that led her to this point and maybe see if we can identify broader patterns or insights about modern dating relationships just from one person's very intense journey.
Because even a seemingly specific experience can often illuminate more universal aspects of how we connect, right?
But that's the idea. It makes you wonder, what can we learn about the current landscape of dating when someone feels the need to step away from a significant part of their identity because of negative relationship experiences?
Yeah. Good question.
So the video, it grabs your attention right away. She's clearly frustrated, states very directly that she's planning to go back to what the F I know.
Okay, so strong language from the get-go.
Definitely. There's a strong sense that her last 6 years of dating women have been, well, in her own words, an absolute show.
That kind of opening immediately signals a significant accumulation of negative experiences. The intensity of the language suggests she's reached a real breaking point,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not just vague dating frustrations. She specifically talks about enduring so much bullshit simply for wanting to be in relationships with women.
You can really feel the sense of unfairness there. It highlights a potential gap between, the desire for connection and the actual lived experience of pursuing it within her dating scene.
Yeah, exactly. It prompts us to consider what specific kinds of challenges might lead to such a strong reaction. And interestingly, she also observes that stud women, and for anyone less familiar, this is a term used within lesbian communities, are now expressing similar frustrations about dating women as men often have.
Huh. That's a fascinating parallel.
Isn't it? It's almost like mirroring complaints across different sexual orientations.
If we consider the broader picture, it could suggest that some of the difficulties in contemporary dating aren't necessarily unique to specific orientations, but might relate more to, broader shifts in communication, expectations, the ways relationships form today, maybe.
Could be. So she kind of prefaces her next points by saying, you're probably like, oh, she's being dramatic. It's not that bad.
Setting it up.
And then she dives into some pretty extraordinary examples of what she considers bullshit. First off, a breakup song written about her and then posted online.
Oof, okay. While, public displays after a breakup aren't exclusive to any one group, posting a song online, that certainly suggests a desire for a wider audience to witness the fallout.
Yeah, it perhaps indicates a move away from, private resolution of conflict.
Possibly. It's definitely making it public.
Then she describes being roped into what she calls a throuple situation. That's a 3-person romantic relationship, which she absolutely did not intend to be a part of.
Okay, wait. Roped into.
Yeah, she really emphasizes her surprise at finding herself in this dynamic. It wasn't her plan at all.
That feeling of being roped into such a situation really points to the importance of clear communication and respecting individual boundaries and intentions when forming relationships. Makes you wonder if there was a lack of directness from the start,
Seems likely. And it escalates quite dramatically from there. She recounts an experience of having her car chased down by an
Just on foot.
Literally someone running alongside her moving car, then jumping in front of it and trying to physically fight her.
Whoa. Okay, that sounds genuinely alarming. That definitely moves beyond typical relationship conflict and into potentially unsafe territory.
Right. It speaks to issues of, emotional regulation and difficulty in accepting the end of a relationship. Big time.
For sure. That's extreme.
Unfortunately, the list continues. She mentions being cheated on and lied to, which sadly is a more common experience in dating.
Painful, but maybe more familiar territory for many.
But then there's someone tattooing her entire body, including her backside, onto themselves.
Her entire body?
Yeah.
Serious.
Apparently, only to later get it all covered up.
Wow. Okay, that's a significant level of commitment followed by a pretty definitive reversal. That's an extreme example of intense infatuation, maybe, or perhaps a blurring of individual identity within a relationship.
Yeah, and the subsequent cover-up signifies a complete change, must have caused significant emotional distress, too.
I can only imagine.
Yep.
Just, wow.
Exactly. She concludes this sort of rapid-fire list by saying it feels like that's enough dating drama to last her at least a decade.
Yeah, you can definitely hear the exhaustion. The sheer number and intensity of these negative experiences clearly had a cumulative effect, leading to this feeling of being completely worn out by the whole dating process.
Totally. So shifting to more general observations from her experiences, she points out that both of her serious relationships, the ones where they actually lived together, ended very dramatically.
Okay. So cohabitation didn't end well.
Not at all. This has led to her vowing never to live with a partner again, referencing the whole lesbian U-Haul trope, the stereotype of lesbians moving in together super quickly.
Right, I know the one.
And connecting it to her own negative outcomes.
This highlights how cultural stereotypes around relationships, even if intended humorously, can sometimes create maybe unrealistic expectations or patterns within a community. Her decision reflects a personal rejection of that pattern based purely on her own experiences.
That makes sense. She also mentions being threatened with legal action at some point.
Oh, wow. That adds another layer of complexity and negativity to her relationship history, doesn't it? Suggests conflicts that move beyond personal disagreements and potentially involved external systems. A significant breakdown.
Yeah, for sure. Overall, she expresses a feeling of being completely over it, unless, in her words, someone is really cute.
Huh. Well, that slight opening for future possibility, despite the overwhelming negativity. It acknowledges the persistent human desire for connection, doesn't it? Even after really difficult experiences.
True. Okay, now, let's really delve into the throuple story, because she dedicates a significant chunk of her follow-up explaining how that unfolded.
All right, I'm curious about this one after the roped-in comment.
So this happened when she was 19. She met someone on Tinder who she was really interested in, and they started hooking up. However, very early on, this person disclosed that she was still in love with her ex, who was also her best friend, and they were in constant contact via Snapchat.
Okay, red flags immediately waving there.
Yeah.
It certainly does raise some, doesn't it? When a new partner admits to being in love with an ex who remains closely involved, that often signals unresolved emotional attachments and potential for complications. Big time.
You'd think. But despite this disclosure, and partly because she says she was also dealing with a recent heartbreak herself.
Oh, no, okay, vulnerable time.
Yeah, she decided to just pursue a friends with benefits arrangement. So they spent a lot of time together, even took trips to New York City. Throughout this time, the initial partner maintained close contact with her ex. Predictably, the ex became jealous and wanted to rekindle their romantic relationship.
Right. This scenario really highlights the inherent difficulties in trying to keep things casual when there are unresolved feelings and external dynamics at play. The ex's jealousy was almost an inevitable consequence, wasn't it?
Totally. And here's where things get particularly complicated. The initial partner starts becoming intimate with both the speaker and the ex.
Oh, okay. So overlapping relationships.
Yeah. The speaker felt she should have been benched, as she put it, but wasn't. And when she raised the question of whether they should stop hooking up, the initial partner's response was, well, me and my ex aren't officially together, so I don't see a reason for that.
What do you make of that reasoning? That kind of response suggests a lack of clear boundaries, perhaps. Or maybe an attempt to navigate multiple relationships without fully considering the emotional implications for everyone involved. Could also just indicate a degree of indecisiveness.
Yeah, all of the above, maybe. Then, apparently, a joke about a threesome somehow becomes a reality during one of their trips to New York City.
A joke becomes reality.
Okay. And it doesn't end there. On the drive back, they apparently established that the speaker is now their shared friends with benefits, even making plans for future group activities.
Wow.
This three-person dynamic continued for several months, including another trip.
The seemingly casual progression into a three-person relationship, almost starting as a joke. It illustrates how fluid relationship structures can become.
Yeah.
But it also shows how quickly boundaries can shift, sometimes without a thorough discussion of everyone's expectations and comfort levels, maybe.
Definitely seems like that happened here. And what's quite remarkable, maybe even bizarre, is that the speaker actually played a role in helping the ex ask the initial partner to officially be their girlfriend.
Wait, she helped the ex ask the other partner out?
Yeah. She even visited them at their apartment after they moved in together. This three-person thing lasted for about 3 months total and apparently ended because the ex became jealous of the connection between the speaker and the initial partner.
Okay, the speaker's active participation in solidifying the relationship between their two partners is an unusual element. It might suggest a desire to maintain connection or perhaps a really complex emotional dynamic at play.
For sure.
And the eventual jealousy of the ex leading to the end of the throuple, well, that underscores the challenges inherent in managing the dynamics and potential insecurities within multi-partner relationships. That's not uncommon.
Right. And what was the emotional impact on the speaker? She admits to feeling butthurt and attached after 6 or 7 months of this whole involvement, even though she says it wasn't a tightly romantic connection in the traditional sense.
That makes sense. Even without traditional romance, that level of involvement creates bonds.
And get this for an ending.
Yeah.
The ex actually showed her the engagement ring before even telling the initial partner they were engaged.
No way. Showed the speaker the ring first.
Yep.
Wow. That ending really emphasizes the emotional entanglement that can develop even in non-traditional relationship structures. Being shown the engagement ring before her initial partner, it highlights the somewhat peripheral, yet clearly emotionally significant role she ended up playing in their dynamic. What a complicated position.
Incredibly complicated. She even mentions briefly a commentary from a male voice in one of the videos who validated her experience, saying, men have dealt with similar dating drama for years.
Ah, okay. The external perspective.
Yeah, and he suggested the initial partner might have been using her as a rebound and always intended to get back with her ex.
That's one interpretation, certainly, the rebound idea.
And his advice was pretty straightforward. Basically, don't be the nice girl or you'll risk being used and abused.
That external perspective offers another way to interpret the situation, suggesting potential motivations behind the initial partner's actions. And the advice to avoid being the nice girl, well, it touches on the importance of self-awareness and setting healthy boundaries in dating, doesn't it?
It does. So as we bring this all together, thinking about this whole deep dive into one person's very, very eventful 6 years, what are the key insights we can draw?
Well, I think what really stands out is that despite the specific community and experiences described, many of the underlying challenges, the dating drama, the miscommunication, the complexities of emotional attachments, they resonate more broadly, don't they?
Absolutely.
The specific anecdotes, while, quite dramatic, they serve to illustrate these more universal themes in really stark detail.
Definitely. And it really underscores how crucial it is to recognize potential red flags early on, even when there's a strong initial attraction. That whole ongoing dynamic with the ex right at the beginning of the throuple situation was a huge warning sign.
Precisely. And it also demonstrates how unexpected and intricate relationship structures can emerge, sometimes seemingly by chance, and the significant emotional complexities they can bring.
Yeah.
The throuple experience, in particular, it really emphasizes the ongoing need for open and honest communication, clearly defined boundaries, and a deep understanding of everyone's needs and expectations in any relationship, regardless of its structure.
Well said. And finally, we see the range of perspectives on her experiences, right? From her own very raw and frustrated account to that external interpretation suggesting a rebound situation. It reminds us that relationship dynamics can often be viewed and understood in multiple ways.
It really does. And this maybe raises a really interesting question for you listening. Can you identify with any of the specific instances of dating trauma she described, regardless of your own dating background or orientation, even the less extreme stuff?
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on the different ways these events could be interpreted? Like that rebound idea versus maybe just messy human stuff.
Definitely some food for thought there. We'd encourage you to take a moment to reflect on your own experiences with relationships. Maybe consider the common threads and unique hurdles that arise as we all navigate this search for connection.
Maybe even consider what your own resignation from certain relationship patterns might look like, if that resonates at all.
Yeah.
Ultimately, this deep dive into one person's intense journey offers a compelling, though admittedly dramatic, perspective on the complexities of human relationships. It serves as a reminder that this remains a rich and sometimes perplexing area for ongoing exploration and understanding.